So you want to drive in Thailand? We've got you covered. We'll tell you what you need to know about traffic laws and how to drive safely
and respectfully in Thailand.
Motor Vehicle Act BE 2522 is all about registering your vehicle and getting a driving license. Did you know that you need to register and pay the tax for your vehicle before it's used? Tax must be paid in advance for the upcoming year, and if your vehicle is more than 7 years old, it needs to be checked to make sure it's in good condition before you make the tax payment.
Register at your local DLT office and make sure the registration stamp is on the front window of your vehicle. And don't forget that all drivers need to have a valid driving license and a copy of their vehicle registration in the vehicle at all times.
After that, you shouldn't make any modifications to the vehicle. Even if you change the color, you have to tell your DLT office within 7 days. If vehicle ownership is transferred, you have 15 days to give them notice.
Using a vehicle with an unregistered red plate is illegal.
Non-Thai citizens can only apply for personal car or personal motorcycle licenses. And if you want to apply for an international driving license here in Thailand, you'll need to have a valid 5-year Thai driving license. As part of applying to renew or transfer your driving license, you'll complete a written multiple choice test. To help you prepare, we'll be going over some of the questions during this video.
While driving, what documents do you need to have along with a valid driving license?
What is the penalty for driving without a license?
How far in advance can a 5-year personal driving license be renewed?
If you receive a summons to pay a fine for a traffic offense, how many days do you have to pay it?
So, you've got your driving license, your car is registered, taxes are paid and you're ready to go. But it's important that you are totally clued up with the rules of the road in Thailand. Land Traffic Act BE 2522 has got you covered.
Everyone drives on the left in Thailand. Drivers should stay in the far left lane as much as possible and out of bus lanes. The far right lane can be used for faster vehicles, overtaking, or when there are obstacles in the left lane.
What about signs and signals to watch for? Of course, there are traffic lights. Green for go, yellow for slow down, red for stop. Remember, a flash doesn't mean you can dash. When you come to an intersection with a flashing yellow light, be extra careful. Always follow traffic light signals and allow pedestrians to go first.
Road signals can also be given with arms, hands, and whistles, so always follow the signals from the authorities, in addition to the traffic lights. Keep in mind, there are times when the traffic police may temporarily rearrange the direction of lanes during busy times, including bridges, tunnels, and normal roads. Always pay attention to pedestrians and use your vehicle signals.
You'll also need to take note of the different signs, some unique to Thailand, others not. There are warning signs and restrictive signs. Let's start with 10 warning signs that you should know. Parallel right exit to the main road. Give way ahead. School zone. Left lane ends. T-junction on the right and left. Angled side road on the right. Steep incline. Railroad crossing. Pedestrian crossing. Divided road ends.
What about restrictive signs? Here are 10 that you should know. Give way. Give way to oncoming traffic. Carpool lane. No changing to right lane. Speed limit. No parking. No access for cars. No stopping. Pedestrians only. Stop.
Let's review those again. We'll show you a sign and then give you a few seconds to see if you remember its meaning. There are signs to watch out for on the road surface too. One more reason to keep your eyes on the road. A full line means no overtaking, so no crossing the line. A dashed line means overtaking is possible when it's safe. A dashed line with a full line means that overtaking is possible on the side of the road with the dashed line when it's safe. A box with diagonal lines means that no vehicle should stop within that box. A bus lane is only for buses. And always follow the direction of the arrows on the road surface.
Let's see how you do remembering the road surface signs. Just like with the traffic signs, we'll show you a road surface sign and give you a few seconds to see if you remember what it means.
Are you with us so far? Don't stop listening and don't stop in these places when you're driving. Parking is not allowed
On a roadway unless you're in the far left lane.
in a bus lane or within 15 meters of a bus stop.
On a footpath, yellow and white markings indicate quick drop-off of passengers is permitted. Red and white markings mean no vehicle is allowed to stop or park. Violations can result in clamping and towing.
On a bridge,
In a tunnel,
in an intersection or junction or within 10 meters of one, 15 meters for intersections with railroad tracks,
when a restrictive sign is visible,
in front of access points to buildings,
in a crossway,
within 10 meters of traffic lights.
Basically, no parking anywhere that could create an obstacle for other drivers, including in safe zones and within 3 meters of fire hydrants.
Kelly, can you give us a recap of places where you're not allowed to park?
Bridge, tunnel, bus lane, in an intersection, or in front of an access point to a building.
That's right. And I'll add to that. On a footpath, on the road, unless you're in the far left lane, in a crossway, when you see a restrictive sign, or when you're close to traffic lights.
Good memory!
If you're having trouble remembering how many meters away you need to be in order for parking to be permitted, this might help. 3 meters away if there's a fire hydrant. 10 for traffic lights, it's a requirement. And 10 if you're at an intersection. But 15 near train tracks for your protection. And 15 again if a bus stop is near. Those are the rules when driving here. So, say you parked somewhere safe, but now you're ready to get moving. What do you need to do? Always signal before starting to move from a full stop and before turning. Before turning at an intersection, slow down and always allow vehicles coming from the opposite direction to go first, and follow road signs. If you get to a junction or intersection at the same time as another car, let the car on your left go first. Generally, it's first come, first served, and vehicles on the main road are always able to go first. How do you know if you're on a major or minor road? Well, if a sign is facing you saying give way, this means you're currently on a minor road and should allow the vehicles on the major road to go first.
If you want to make a turn, make sure you're in the lane closest to the direction you're turning in. And signal at least 30 meters in advance. Slow down prior to actually making the turn. Although at many intersections there are signs saying turn left anytime, you should first make sure that it is safe to do so. In a roundabout, drive on the left in a circle. Obey the traffic lights as usual. If there aren't any traffic lights, always let drivers from the right go first before entering the roundabout.
Let's try a few more multiple choice questions. What should you do if you're stopped at an intersection and the traffic light turns green?
What should you do if the left lane is obstructed and there is oncoming traffic? What should you do if you want to turn left?
What is the correct way to drive safely on expressways?
Before changing lanes or turning, the turn signal should be given how many meters in advance.
When driving along a road with 2 or 3 lanes going in the same direction, what should you do when you see motorcyclists?
I know it can be frustrating to be stuck behind someone driving slowly, but you can't overtake whenever you want. Take it from us. Don't overtake from the left or when going up a steep bridge or curved road unless there is a sign saying that you can. And Don't even think about it when there is a restrictive sign, or when visibility is low because of smoke, smog, dust, or rain. And don't try to overtake by crossing the demarcation when a car is coming in the opposite direction.
It's not safe to overtake in a chaotic area or safe zone either, or by going into a bus lane. Overtake carefully in a narrow roadway and signal. If you are being overtaken, stay on the left. Don't accelerate as it may be dangerous for everyone.
Speaking of dangerous, do you know how many road accidents there are in Thailand every year? Take a guess.
10,000? 20,000?
More?
40,000?
Even more. On average, there are 75,000 reported traffic accidents every year and 8,000 deaths. Bangkok has the highest number of road traffic accidents of all the provinces in Thailand. The top 4 causes of accidents are vehicle malfunction, driving too fast, tailgating, and sudden overtaking. Your car needs to be in good condition, but so do you as the driver. Over 80% of accidents are caused by drivers themselves.
That means there's a lot that we can do to prevent accidents. But there are other factors that contribute to accidents too, like the condition of the road. You need to slow down when the road isn't good or when roadworks are underway.
Yeah, and weather plays a role too. We don't get the snow and ice here in Thailand that you may have at home, but there can be heavy rain, smoke, and fog that make it hard to see the road clearly.
We can't control the roads or the weather, but we can control how we drive in response to the conditions.
You're even more vulnerable if you're on a motorcycle. Motorcycles are great for getting around, but you have to take extra precautions.
Yeah, like always wearing a helmet, checking the brakes, lights and tyres before you head out, looking behind you and signalling.
And driving with the traffic. Driving against the traffic to save some time might seem like a good idea, but it's really dangerous.
Even if you're trying to do everything right, accidents can still happen. Would you know what to do?
I know that if you're in an accident, you have to stop so you can help anyone who might be hurt and call the authorities. Then give the other people involved your name, contact info, and license plate number.
And emergency vehicles need to get through when there's an accident. Drivers should pull over along the side of the road to make way.
Same if your car breaks down. Pull off to the side of the road and put your hazard lights on so you don't cause a traffic jam or an accident.
We've all got places to be, but let's get there in one piece. Don't drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs, on the footpath, over the lane demarcations, too close to other vehicles, especially big trucks carrying heavy material, or while using your phone.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slow down.
Too fast?
Way too fast. Let's start from the top.
Right. Well, first of all, alcohol and drugs don't mix with driving.
That's no surprise. And the punishments are really severe if you're caught driving under the influence of drugs or alcohol.
It might seem obvious, but it's still worth mentioning that there's no driving on footpaths. Leave those to the pedestrians.
And no crossing lane demarcations, right?
Right. Stay in your lane and don't cross a solid demarcation. If there's no dash, don't pass.
And I know that there will be times you're just itching to answer that call or reply to that text, but there's a time and a place, and it's not while driving.
Don't drive and try to text, post, like, share. Focus on the road.
Have you noticed how some drivers are always right on your tail, trying to get as close as possible to your vehicle as if that will help them get where they're going faster?
Tailgating can cause accidents, especially if you're driving too close to a big truck carrying heavy materials. Better to keep some distance between you and the car in front of you and hope the driver behind you does the same.
pay special attention when you're driving on bad roads or at busy intersections. At night, use your lights, slow down, and pay close attention to cars parked along the road, even if they don't have their lights on.
Why would I need to pay attention to parked cars?
Because even if the lights aren't on, the driver could be inside and might depart suddenly. You need to be extra careful when driving at night in general.
Day or night, follow the speed limit and road signs and stay alert. You should be on the offensive when you're driving. Keep an eye out for other cars and for pedestrians.
Here are a few more questions that you need to know for your written test. Which of the following is the main cause of collisions?
When should you use emergency signals?
When preparing to overtake another vehicle, what should you do first?
What is the legal alcohol limit for drivers?
What is the safe way to drive along a curve in the road?
What should you do when going through a flooded area?
If a mirror breaks while driving, what should you do?
What should you do when driving in an area with traffic jams?
Always follow instructions given by traffic police. They may temporarily confiscate your driving license, and you'll need to pay a fine at the local police station to get it back.
Do you know what people commonly get tickets and fines for?
The same dangerous driving habits we talked about earlier, like using your mobile phone while driving.
Not wearing a seatbelt, running a red light, not wearing a helmet on a motorcycle?
Yes, all of these behaviors can lead to serious injury or even death, so the traffic police take them really seriously. And there are some other common offenses too, like driving without a valid license or parking in a no parking zone.
And those special red plates we talked about at the beginning? Don't forget you can get fined for using one of those for more than 1 month or more than 3,000 kilometers.
Good point.
Of course, no one wants to get a ticket or get into an accident, but making the roads a kinder place to drive matters too.
Yeah, there are so many little things that you can do to show respect and gratitude when you're driving, like not throwing anything out of the car, not tailgating, not splashing water on people walking along the sidewalks.
I hate when that happens during the rainy season. And no high beams unless there's reduced visibility and you're trying to check for obstacles or warn cars coming from the opposite direction.
Sometimes drivers forget that they have their high beams on, but then the other drivers will usually flash their lights to remind you.
And car horns should just be used to give a warning with a short honk. It's so jarring when someone leans on the horn, especially in quiet areas like schools and hospitals.
Yes, often it's enough to just slow down and pay extra attention when you're driving.
If everyone would relax, give way to others, not try to cut queues, then that would make the roads more peaceful.
Exactly. Forgive and forget. What's the point of road rage? It will only make the situation worse.
Better to take it easy, sabay sabay. And it seems like anywhere you go, the universal way to say thank you to another driver is to raise your hand and nod your head.
Yes, simple things like staying in the left lane, especially if you're driving slowly, using signals when changing lanes, not braking abruptly, and giving way to emergency vehicles all help not just reduce accidents, but make driving in Thailand more enjoyable. We're almost there. Here are the key things to remember to be safe and polite when driving in Thailand.
When you're about to hit the road, depart slowly and carefully.
Stay on the left and let faster vehicles go by. Don't drive over demarcations, and use your signals so other drivers know what you're going to do.
Slow down in residential areas and intersections.
Let pedestrians cross, and go slowly when there's a lot of water on the road to avoid splashing people on the footpath.
Don't drive dangerously, including driving too close to the vehicle in front of you.
Overtaking can be risky. Slow down if you're being overtaken, and don't try to suddenly overtake another vehicle. Be careful and use your signals. Only overtake when you're sure it's safe to do so, and there aren't any restrictive signs.
Keep horn use to a minimum and only use short honks. It's a warning, not a rant. Don't use your car horn where it's prohibited, like hospitals and schools. You can use your hazard lights instead.
And watch out for those high beams. They should only be used when there is no other lighting and when other drivers won't be bothered. Make sure you remember to turn off your high beams when other drivers are approaching from the opposite direction.
When you're tired of being on the move, park where it's safe and permitted and leave your car in neutral in case other vehicles are blocked.
Let's wrap this up with some review. True or false? There's no need to have your car registration in your vehicle as long as you have a valid license.
False. You have to have both your valid driving license and your car registration with you in the vehicle at all times. Try this one. There's no need to signal if you're departing from a full stop.
False. You should always signal when departing from a full stop. What about this one? A dashed line on the road means overtaking is permitted.
True, but even when there's a dashed line, you should only overtake when it's safe.
And watch out for traffic coming from the opposite direction. True or false? When you're driving in a roundabout, stay in the right lane.
Nope, false. You should drive on the left in a circle, but let drivers coming from the right go first before entering the roundabout.
You can't stop within 15 meters of an intersection with railroad tracks. True or false?
True. And even if there aren't railroad tracks, you still need to keep a distance of 10 meters if you need to park near an intersection.
Always turn your high beams on when driving at night.
False. Only use high beams when going up bridges or around curves or dark corners to warn other drivers coming from the opposite direction. High beams can also be useful as a signal before overtaking someone or to check for obstacles ahead.
Most accidents are caused by the driver's condition. True or false?
True. Being tired, emotional, or under the influence of drugs or alcohol, these conditions can all lead to accidents.
A long press on the car horn infers cursing.
True. Short honks can be used to warn other drivers or pedestrians, but use it sparingly. What about this one? Most road accidents involve motorcycles.
True. That's why it's so important to wear a helmet. Check brakes, lights, and tires before departing, and then look behind you and use your signals. And don't ride against the traffic.
And one more thing. Raising your hand and nodding your head to another driver is considered rude.
False. That is actually a way of saying thanks when another driver does something kind, like letting you into a lane.
That's right. Driving isn't only about safety, it's also about showing kindness and gratitude.
What is the penalty for driving with an expired license?
What does this road surface marking mean?
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 What do red and white markings along the edge of the road mean?
What is the correct gear to use when driving up and down a hill?
If you are driving behind a cyclist and you want to turn left, what should you do?
Why shouldn't you use your high beams when you're driving behind another vehicle or when there is oncoming traffic?
If you feel tired while driving a long distance, what should you do?
Which of the following is the wrong behavior when you want to overtake?
What signal should you use if you want to turn right at an intersection?
You've got this. Above all, remember to obey traffic signs, traffic laws, and of course, traffic police.
You can help make driving in Thailand safe and enjoyable. Thank you.
And happy driving.